Today on Unpopular Opinions, fighting face-offs, salary abuse, work-life balance, and when is enough enough? Today's Unpopular Opinions are brought to you by channel members and patrons alike. To contribute to the show, hit that join button or head over to www.patreon.com/theplothole1. That's the number one, not the loneliest number you can ever do. Rack focus. Hey everybody, Johnny O from the Plot Hole, and it's time for Unpopular Opinions episode 28. Let's get right into it. Unpopular opinion number 1. MMA and boxing face-offs are stupid. Seriously. Whoever thought, hey, let's have weigh-ins, and after the weigh-ins we're going to get two people to look at each other and stare into each other's eyes with the mean face. They need to have their job taken away from them. I mean, look, I get it. It's some sort of promotional bullshit to make sure that people watch the fight. But I swear, people are going to watch the fight regardless of this dumb shit. And with the exception of, what is that guy's name? Sean O'Connell? Those things are dumb. At least Sean O'Connell has fun with them. At least he did have fun with them. I don't know if he's still fighting. That's how long it's been since I've looked at MMA or boxing. But seriously, that whole thing, that's just stupid. It's dumb. It's a waste of time. These silly stare downs add nothing to the fight except a contrived, silly little stare down and a moment of just, ooh, I'm a badass. If you weren't going to watch the fight before the face-off isn't going to make you all of a sudden want to watch the fight. I mean, can we get rid of this silly practice? Every time Ronda Rousey had a face-off, I mean, she looked downright moronic. I mean, she put on her best sloth face and grimaced right before screaming, "Hey, you guys!" It's just so stupid. I get that it's a promotional piece, but can we skip all that shit and just get straight to the fight? It's like they want to separate themselves from schoolyard fights, yet they bring along that same stupid schoolyard business. I mean, seriously, the face-off between two schoolyard mates is exactly what happened right before nobody fought. Seriously, this is so stupid. Unpopular opinion number 2. Salaried positions in conservative states are a veiled way to abuse workers. Sure, they make it sound nice. We'll pay you X amount of dollars for working 40 hours in a week. Sounds great, doesn't it? Especially when that X amount of dollars is one of those high salaries that, pays you enough to do more than just meet your essential needs. I mean, who could blame you for thinking, man, this is something I can live on. I can provide for my family with this number that they gave me. Awesome. What they don't tell you is that they'll overwork you to death. Somebody gets sick, who gets to take up the hours? It's not going to be the hourly paid person. It's going to be you, the manager, the one who gets a set amount of money no matter how many hours a week he works. And do we get compensated for working extra hours? Hell no. Why would they do that? They're only contracted into paying us whatever that contracted X amount is. So why would they give us more? On the flip side of that, let's say you didn't meet your 40 hours a week. Do you still get your 40 hours a week pay? No. What kind of horse shit is this? This sure seems like a racket that's amazing for the employer, but not the employee. Wait, what? They dock my pay for working less? Yes! Say you should fall victim to, maybe the weather turns suddenly bad, causing, rolling blackouts and the water just to turn off all of a sudden. Not to mention the same type of road condition that caused a 100 plus car pileup killing at least 6. You don't get paid. And when you politely remind them about all those times that you worked more than 40 hours a week, they turn around and look at you and say, well, you should be grateful we're paying you anything at all. We're supposed to be happy with the scraps. This isn't a personal anecdote at all. Salary positions aren't meant to be something to abuse your workers with. My goodness. The CEO of the company still gets his salary, regardless of how many rounds of golf he plays. So why don't we? Unpopular opinion number 3. Speaking of work, why does the majority of the prime of my life have to be spent working? You often get companies talking about work-life balance, and that's all well and good, but to them that means you work and then you work. Your life comes a distant second. And never once have I had one of these companies talk about work-life balance, pay someone a decent, livable wage, yet only require them to work 3.5 days a week. Yes, I do say 3.5 days a week. And I'll hear people talk about, well, what about, if you divide it by hours, you're only working so many hours a week. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm also supposed to be sleeping 8 hours a day. So if I'm going to be sleeping 8 hours a day, regardless of whether I'm working or not, my body needs that sleep to, put itself back and function correctly, then I'm not going to concede that being personal time because, it could very well be work time too. So instead, we'll say 4 hours of sleep will go for my work time and 4 hours of sleep will go for my personal time. Therefore, 3.5 days a week, I should be able to be off from work. We want to talk about work-life balance? That's even. It's rare that you get a company that'll do something like that, but it's rare, very rare. Look, I understand that companies have to, they have to remain profitable to be able to do what they do and keep people employed. I understand that, perfectly understand that. And in no way, shape, or form am I really advocating to only have to work 3.5 days a week. Now, of course, if there's a company out there that'll pay me, what I make or more now to work 3.5 days a week, let's do it. But why does that mean that people at the top get to enjoy work-life balance while the rest of us down at the bottom slave away? If it weren't for us low-rung employees, those people at the top wouldn't have all the money they have. Furthermore, when I have to use my PTO or sick leave, why am I made to feel like a burden to the company? Somehow I've become a leech for getting sick. I've caused the company undue strife and hardship. Forget the times that I've been on call on my days off with no extra compensation. It's my PTO, personal time off. I should be able to use it as I see fit. And if I get sick and I have sick time, again, it's my sick time to use as I see fit. And it's not like I said, hey, I think I would rather spend the day shitting myself to death than going to work. Again, not a personal anecdote at all. Seriously though, these companies make it seem like they've bent over backwards to give us a world. They haven't. They've given us the scraps, and they make no qualms about it. And we're supposed to shut up and be glad of it. Studies shown that people who have more work-life balance, more time to spend with their families, more time doing self-fulfillment activities, those people tend to do better at work. Finally, when is enough enough? Now, I try not to get too political on this channel, but with the recent goings-on in Texas, I just had to speak up. Last week, the state of Texas saw record low temperatures, with some places getting down to -2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's -16.66 degrees Celsius, if memory serves correct. That's cold. Couple that with one of the worst winter storms that we've had, and we saw a major metropolitan area shut down, come to a crawl because of piss-poor planning. The sudden and swift storm caused such a power drain on Texas' power grid that we had to enact rolling blackouts, leaving people without power for hours at a time. Some people still to this day don't have power. Now, we were told that these rolling blackouts were to help lighten the load. What's wrong with that, you ask? We don't have insulated pipes. Frozen pipes equals busted pipes. And pop. We've got multiple pipes out, multiple mains around DFW that have busted, leaving people without running water. And I only mentioned that there were certain electrical companies that took their opportunities to price gouge their customers to the tune of $20,000 over a couple of days. Extrapolate that. Why is all this relevant? The reason Texas was so underprepared and unequipped to handle a catastrophe of this magnitude is because present and past governors saw to it. Current and past governors removed Texas from the national power grid, a move that seemed to benefit Texas residents by keeping electric rates local, but ultimately failed to meet the needs, thus forcing us to buy our power from Mexico. And it also allowed companies to price gouge. And to add insult to injury, Texas Senator Ted Cruz left his position at our nation's capital, along with other senators and other members of the House of Representatives, in order to head back to their states in order to handle states' issues. We were told and promised that this was not a vacation. That's important because they were supposed to be working on the third stimulus package. And the reason why they were breaking from that was so that everybody could go home to their state and handle up on state's issues. It was not a vacation. However, the second that Ted Cruz got here and he realized that it was too cold and he didn't have power or running water, he tucked tail with his family down to Cancun. Instead of leading his constituents along with Governor Abbott, Ted Cruz decided to take his family on vacation. Now, mind you, it wasn't too cold for the family pooch. No, Mr. Poodle got to stay home and weather the storm by himself. This is where we have to stand up and say enough is enough. Enough of the piss poor representation that we have. Enough of all the special treatment that benefit wealthy corporations. Enough letting corporations price gouge. Get money out of politics. Corporations are not people. And Teddy Cruz, Greg Abbott, enough of you. It's time for you two to go far away. Texans, I get that party politics has put us in a position where it's either me or them, but we've got to put that aside. We need to get rid of these idiots that don't care about you. We need to get rid of these politicians that have no problem with a major wealthy corporation and company charging $20,000 for a couple of days worth of electricity. They exploited a loophole in people who had non-fixed rates. We need to say enough is enough and get rid of people who allow these corporations to do that to us. Let's get rid of them. Sorry for the political rant, but I just can't stand to see people suffer because we have a political system that bends to the will of the greedy. I do hope you enjoyed the show. If so, give me a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down is perfectly okay too. If you haven't done so already, please do consider subscribing to the channel and tickle that bell for bell notifications. That way, every time I put out a video, you get notified. That being said, I'm Johnny O from The Plot Hole, and don't forget, keep your opinions unpopular, baby.